Namaskar and welcome to StudyIQ. I am your friend Rahul Saigaonker. Let's continue our discussion of NCERT Science series. We are discussing the science textbook for class 9 and today's agenda of discussion is chapter 13, Why Do We Fall Ill? I hope you do remember what we discussed in our chapter 12. It was a discussion connected to physics where we spoke about sound. What is sound? How sound is produced? How does a sound propagate? What are the characteristics of sound waves? We understood that sound also gets reflected very similar to light, right? Light follows the laws of reflection. Similarly, sound also follows the laws of reflection. We also discussed about echoes, reverberation, what is the meaning of infrasound, ultrasound, and applications of ultrasound. Today, the agenda is to discuss chapter 13, Why Do We Fall Ill? So this is a discussion which is connected to, I would say, biology or society or health. We'll talk about diseases. We'll understand what is a disease. How do we find out about the disease? What is the classification of diseases? We'll focus specifically on infectious diseases. So this is going to be the agenda. Let's begin our interaction. But before that, if you're preparing for UPSC Civil Services examination, you have the golden opportunity to join our Prelims to Interview initiative. You still have time till 30th June. The classes have begun from 19th June. The orientation is done, just the initial classes are over, but you can even now join. We are offering this in 3 formats, available in English, available in Hindi, and in English, that means bilingual format. The content and the delivery also, the explanation also. Why should you join this? This is the most comprehensive program for UPSC Civil Services preparation because we will be hand-holding you through all the stages, through prelims, through mains, through interview. Every stage would be covered. That means comprehensive and integrated way of preparation at a very, very affordable price. For maximum discount, do use my code Rahul Live whenever you check out. I'll see you in the class. Right, let's begin. As I told you, we were discussing about why do we fall ill? Now, why do we fall ill? Ill means something wrong with the human body or something wrong with the body. Now, to understand this concept of illness or the concept of disease, we first need to understand the idea of health. When do I say I am healthy? See, we have already established in our biology classes that any living organism is made up of cells. Human body is made up of billions of cells. Different cells combine for some sort of specialization. They are called as tissues. We have discussed tissues as well. Tissues then transform into organs, and our body is composed of different organ systems. We have discussed that also. Some ideas we have already discussed in our previous sessions when we spoke about class 7, class 8. For instance, circulatory system. Heart is responsible for circulation. We have the GI tract, the digestive system. We have the excretory system. Kidney runs it. Kidney is primary organ. So when I say someone is healthy, meaning the cells of the body, the tissues of the body, the organs and the organ systems are working in harmony. The metabolism is proper. Another important organ system in our body is a central nervous system, and brain is the key to that. So when we speak about health, we speak from a dual perspective. We say I am physically fit and I'm mentally fit, right? So health means all the cells in your body, all the tissues in your body, all the organ systems, they are working very fine. But there is another dimension to the idea of health which is connected to the society as well. Of course, yes, when I say healthy, yes, the cells are healthy, meaning I am physically fit. The mental system is working well. That means a person or a living organism has cognitive ability. They're able to think very well. Yes, they have mental health as well. But there is another dimension to health, I told you, and that is the concept of social health. Why? Because for me to remain healthy, the environment, the community, the society, it also has to remain healthy. Meaning my physical health, my mental health would be depending on the social health as well. That is why social health is one of the important dimensions. We call it the health triangle. How do we define health? We define health in terms of 3 parameters: physical health, mental health, and social health. We'll get to know about that more. So when I say social health, this is the classic example. See, different factors for a better health. One is your food, right? For your food, you need to run your metabolism. Your cells need energy, so you need to have decent food, clean food. You need to maintain cleanliness, and the society also contributes towards your health. Now, if there is untidy stuff around you, if things are unclean around you, if there are so many microorganisms around you and microorganic activities going on in a higher range, then you are susceptible to illness. That's why the NCERT talks about 5 F's. You need to ensure that the fluids, that means the water source around you, is clean. You need to ensure your personal hygiene by keeping your hands clean. Finger, the second F is finger. Third one is flies. That means cover your food and control the flies, because these flies are the carriers of diseases. They are carriers of pathogens. Fields, you need to keep your fields clean. You need to focus more and more on growing organic fruits and vegetables, meaning clean your vegetables and fruits. If you consume clean food, you will remain healthy. And finally, there is one more F of floods. That means your drainage system should be proper, because drainage system, it is the breeding ground of the pathogens. So 5 F's. I hope you have gotten the idea clearly that when I say health, it has 3 dimensions: physical health, mental health, and social health. Now the next question is, sir, what is the meaning of illness? When something goes wrong, meaning when the bodily cells, bodily organs, bodily tissues are not working in a sound manner, we call that as illness, characterized by disease. What is the meaning of disease? The root word is disturbed ease. When I say I am healthy, meaning I am physically at ease, nothing is troubling me, I don't have pain in any of my muscles, I am at mental ease, I am at societal ease. That is the meaning of healthy life, right? Meaning you are free of any sort of disturbance, physical disturbance, mental disturbance, or societal disturbance, right? So disease means a state of being uncomfortable. It means some sort of abnormality caused in my body. Now it may be because of my internal factors. For instance, say I'm feeling feverish, it may be because of some internal issue, because of the host itself. It may be caused by an external agent also, that may be pathogen. For instance, say I have become sick because of some sort of bacterial infection or viral infection. A pathogen may be responsible. Or environment can also lead to diseases. As I told you, we need to ensure water around us is clean. The surroundings should be clean. Environment, say for example, sometimes an allergen can also cause problems to me. So disease means disturbed ease. It can be caused because of any of these factors. Simply meaning there is some sort of dysfunction in your health system. Now please try to understand there is a difference between being healthy and being disease free. Health has 3 dimensions. Health is connected to society, health is connected to physical fitness, mental fitness, meaning health, mental, social, physical, and it includes individual, physical, and social environment. But remaining disease free is up to an individual. It means simply absence of diseases, and it's at the individual level. The individual may have good health, they may have poor health, but they may be disease free as well. Meaning if they are disease free today, but if they are in poor health, that means they are heading towards some sort of a chronic disease. So I hope you have understood the difference between being healthy and being disease free. Being healthy is a more broader concept. Now next, I understood, sir, what is a disease. Now I want to identify that disease. How do I do it? A disease can be identified using 2 ideas. One is symptom, another one is sign. Now looking at these terms, they are very innocuous. So symptom, I know what is a symptom. For instance, I go to a doctor when I say my stomach is aching, there is some sort of stomach pain, discomfort. I go to a doctor, I tell them that I have this pain in my stomach. That is a symptom. Or I say I'm feeling very nauseous, I feel like I want to vomit. Or I say I'm feeling very fatigued, I'm low on energy, I'm eternally low on energy. I just walk 10 paces, 10 steps I take, and then I feel very weak, very fatigued. So these are symptoms that you're describing. Describing to whom? Describing to a physician, to a doctor. So based on these symptoms, the doctor will look for some sort of signs. So by this, you have understood, whenever there is a disease or an illness in your body, you have some sort of symptoms which are broad, which are subjective. When I say stomach pain, What the doctor will do? The doctor will look for certain signs. What will he ask you? He'll ask you, where is the pain? Is it in the upper abdomen, or somewhere in the middle, or lower abdomen? Probably if it is in the lower abdomen, then he might say yes. It might be issue of the gastric stuff, right? Too many gases in your body. So he might simply prescribe you an antacid or gas releasing tablet or whatever medication. So he's looking for some sort of sign. He's trying to pinpoint something. Or for instance, if you say pain, then he says, have you got any rashes on your body? So he'll see, okay, if there are rashes, probably some sort of a fungal infection, it might have impacted, and it's manifesting outside also, probably some sort of fungal infection inside. Meaning it's an idea of diagnosis. Symptom is subjective, symptom is vague, which we describe to a doctor, but a doctor will look for a sign. Sign is more indicative of that particular disease. For instance, if a fever, what the doctor will do, stomach pain, okay, let me take your temperature, let me take your blood pressure, let me check your pulse. Now these are signs, you see, signs connected to disease. So what is a symptom? Symptom is subjective, broad idea where I say, okay, I'm fatigued, I have fatigue, I feel dizzy, I feel nauseous. These are all symptoms. I feel stomach pain, I feel pain in my lower abdomen. Now these are symptoms that I describe, but the signs of that would be, say, high fever. You check your temperature, you check your pulse, right? You check your pulse, you check your perspiration rate. So these are signs. So based on these signs and symptoms, the physician or the doctor will diagnose what kind of a disease you have. Now, diseases can further be classified like this. A doctor will say what kind of disease you have. He will check your symptoms and signs, and then he'll say, okay, it can be acute disease or it can be chronic disease. He'll tell you for some more testing. We also categorized on the basis of the causes. See, how do we classify? One, on the duration of the disease. That's why the doctor will ask, okay, you have stomach pain. From how many days? You say 2 days. Okay. For the past 2 days, what kind of pain you're feeling? So he will look for signs and symptoms, and then he'll diagnose if it is acute or chronic, or if it is some sort of infectious or non-infectious based on some testings. So first we'll talk about acute, chronic, then we'll jump into infectious and non-infectious. Now, what is an acute disease? Acute disease is a short-term disease. A short-term disease. Now, this may be because of anything. It may be infectious, or it may be because of some environmental factor, anything. But its symptoms and its signs are rather short-lived. Chronic disease is a long-term disease, something brewing slowly and steadily. So acute disease is something which lasts for short period. For example, when I get common cold, say I have simple cough, cold, and that cough and cold would be seasonal. Right now we are entering into the phase of rain. Season is changing. So there is high probability that many of you will get this seasonal flu, seasonal cough, cold, which will stay with you for probably 4 days, 5 days, a week, and then it will go off automatically because your immune system will take care of it. So acute diseases are those diseases which stay there for short duration, which do not trouble you a lot. You do not feel too much tired. Yes, during that short period, you might feel tired, but not continuously. So acute diseases, they do not have any sort of long-term effect. They do not cause you serious disorders, like they do not cause you weight loss or shortness of breath or some other symptoms like that. Whereas chronic disease is something where the root cause is lying there for years together. It's more like a ticking time bomb. Chronic disease, it lasts for a long time and it gives you long-term adverse consequences. Example, elephantiasis is there. Example, say diabetes is a classic example. Diabetes, it can be a chronic disease. It is simply lying there in your body, and one day you'll feel suddenly dizzy, low blood pressure or high blood pressure, and then you faint. When you go check, your sugar level is extremely high. Then there is something going on with your releasing of insulin or glucagon, whatever it is. You have some sort of a problem. Then you will have that problem together for a long time until you get some sort of a solution, meaning it will have long-term effects. Chronic disease. All right. We also categorize diseases as infectious and non-infectious. Now, to put it in simple terms, communicable diseases and I would say non-communicable diseases. All right. Now, infectious diseases are caused by a pathogen. It may be a virus, it may be a bacteria, it may be a protozoa. How? we catch these pathogens. Say, for example, I take contaminated food. A pathogen has entered and it is causing me problems. Or COVID-19 is a classic example. Waterborne diseases are classic example. Malaria, cholera, all these are infectious diseases because they're caused by a pathogen, caused by microorganisms. And many a times these infectious diseases, they're also communicable. That means they transmit from one person to another person through some sort of a medium. It may be directly through air, it may be through contact, it may be through water, it may be through some other vector means, it may be through a mosquito. Now here comes the concept of societal or community health, community cleanliness. Now, to take care or to get rid of these infectious diseases, or I would say to prevent these infectious diseases, I would want my surroundings to be extremely clean. Say, I am staying healthy, I am physically fit, mentally fit, but if someone else is ill, they might give me a disease. That's the idea of infectious disease. A non-infectious disease is not caused by pathogen. It is caused by some other factor. It may be intrinsic factor, as I told you. It may be intrinsic factor, host-based factor, or any other environmental factor. Say some sort of allergy or internal factor. It may be, say, genetic. Right? It may be some sort of a genetic disorder, or it may be a diabetes. It may be a lifestyle disorder. It may be diabetes. It may be goiter because of the deficiency of vitamins, etc. So transmission in this case is not there. There is no transmission. Although transmission can happen from one generation to another generation, especially if it is a genetic disorder. But I hope that you have got an idea of infectious and non-infectious diseases. That's how we characterize. As I told you, causes of the disease can be immediate or can be contributory. Slowly and steadily, diseases can come. So if they are immediate, they may be caused by pathogens. They are infectious. If they are non-infectious, then may be caused by some other abnormality. But there many times there are contributory factors. For example, if water is not clean, if the food is not clean, unhealthy conditions, consumption of contaminated food, if the public facilities are poor in terms of drinking water, in terms of other facilities, or in general, in terms of non-availability of nutritious food, that time also we get some sort of contributory diseases, right? So we categorize them as acute, chronic, infectious, non-infectious. Now, what are these infectious diseases? Our focus is on that because I want to learn how do I take care or how do I stop these infectious diseases. That's the agenda today. As I told you, infectious diseases are those which are caused by pathogens, and these pathogens can be anything. These pathogens can be a virus. We saw COVID-19 pandemic. It can be some sort of bacteria. It can be a protozoa. For instance, malaria is caused by the protozoa plasmodium. It can be helminth. It can be fungus. It can even be amoeba. Right? Recently, we have seen some deadly amoebas. It causes amoebasis or deadly amoebas. The brain-eating amoebas we have seen, right? Naegleria fowleri, which was there in current affairs in recent times. So it may be any of these pathogens, and infection can spread through different means. For instance, a person is infected. That means the pathogen has already entered this person's body. Now, that pathogen has to spread. How can it spread? It can spread, say, through air. For instance, now this person has, say, COVID-19. How can the COVID-19 virus spread? We know that, right? If a person sneezes, right, even through breathing, right, the small droplets, they evaporate. So this is the zone of this is a zone of those microorganisms. Many a times these droplets may be carried out. It may be there for a very long time in the atmosphere. If a person touches steel plate, plastic, etc., we know about how COVID-19 spread. So it can be spread through air. One of the examples, transfer through air or transmission through air. It can happen by air or it can happen by direct contact. Say if you shake hand or through kissing. It can happen through indirect means. For example, if you are in indirect contact, for instance, say I have got some sort of skin rash, right? And say in hostels these things happen, right? Many a times your friend takes away your t-shirt. If he's going to play cricket or anything, he takes away your t-shirt, he wears it, and if you have got a disease, then he'll also get that, some sort of skin infection. So you use each other's stuff, right? You use each other's stuff, you use each other's utensils. So these can happen. Or you share food. Through food also it can happen, or through some sort of insect. It may be a mosquito, it may be insect, it may be a tick, etc. it may be other rabid animals. So infectious agents or infection agents like viruses, bacteria, etc., they need vector, and vector can be anything, right? It can be passed through or transmitted through air, water, or through any of these indirect mediums as well. But the next question is, sir, you're only telling about spreading, but once that disease occurs, what do I do? See, there are two strategies. How do we counter, or how do we take care of these diseases? Now, once a person is sick, I have to give them treatment, right? Now, in general, I told you, if somebody has, say, acute disease, I say common cold, the immune system is going to take care of that automatically. But if the immune system is weak, if it is a pathogen based disorder or pathogen based disease, that pathogen is going to attack the immune system itself. Then in that state, we need to treat. How do we treat? We treat these symptoms. Say, for instance, the doctor diagnoses that you are getting fever because of this. They give you paracetamol. They give you some other medication. If it is cough, cold, etc., they give you some sort of medication. If it is, say, a bacterial infection, they give you antibiotic to end the cause of the disease, meaning I kill the pathogen itself. I take antibacterial, I take antiviral. If say I'm not able to diagnose this properly, then I reduce the symptoms, treat the symptoms slowly and steadily. And what I'll do is I'll simply take rest. I treat for the symptoms, I take rest, meaning symptoms, they slowly and steadily go down. My natural immune system will be slowly and steadily strengthened, and then the disease will end by itself, because the immune system is now being strengthened slowly and steadily, right? That is one of the ways. Treatment is one of the ways. So principles of treatment are: try to ensure that you strengthen your immunity. One, if you have disease, if you already have the disease, take treatment, take antibiotics, take antivirals, etc., to end the cause of it, right? But there is another means also. Now this is a step even before you get sick, something called as prevention. So we use two strategies. One is principle of treatment once the disease occurs. But even before the disease occurs, I take prevention methods. That's why they say prevention is better than cure. You know, prevention is always better than cure. Correct? Now, why do we say that? There are three reasons for it. Of course, I have a means of treatment. Say I fall sick, I get myself treated. But what are the issues with it? The first issue is that if someone has a disease, then the disease or the pathogen that may still remain there. That means there is no guarantee they will completely recover. There might be some irreversible damage that may occur. The second reason is that treatment generally takes time. Treatment takes effort. And we do know situation in India, the out-of-pocket expenditure is very high. The insurance penetration is very low. So you will be spending too much on that. The treatment will take time. The third one is that a person suffering, especially from infectious diseases, even when they are being treated, there is a very high possibility that the disease might spread. We have seen that during COVID-19. And that is why, because of these three reasons. First is it may be infectious disease. Second is it takes time. And the third one is the disease might cause some sort of irreparable damage. Because of these three reasons, they say, let us not get diseases at all. That's why prevention is always better than cure. And how can I prevent these diseases? First is general prevention. Now, general prevention is more connected with cleanliness. I told you about the 5 F's, right? You need to ensure that the fluids, your fingers, right, your food, etc., are not contaminated. The proper sewage treatment has to be used. All these things we discussed. So general prevention is ensure that things around you are clean. You ensure that you wash your hands every time. That Sachin as ad is coming, no, you say that wash your hands. India, wash your hands so that you do not get disease. So general prevention method. Ensure you maintain cleanliness. Ensure that the microorganisms or the pathogens, they do not spread. Do not keep contaminated food. Do not keep contaminated water. Do not consume contaminated water. Stay away from it. Go for water treatment. Keep yourself clean. Maintain personal hygiene. All these things. These are general prevention methods. But there is another idea of specific prevention also, especially against pathogens. Now that is called as vaccination or immunization. This is a specific prevention method that I use against a specific disease, that I do not get disease X. I do not get disease called COVID-19. I do not get disease called, say, a disease called the tetanus, or disease called rubella, measles. We have got hepatitis. We have got so many vaccinations and immunization that run. So I do not get that specific disease. That is called vaccination or immunization. And now vaccination and immunization, it basically works by training. Now here I spoke about natural immunity. Now here in this vaccination or immunization, what I do is I go for some sort of artificial immunity development, or something called as, I wouldn't say artificial per se, but adaptive immunity development. In our immune system, we have B cells and T cells, B lymphocytes and T lymphocytes. So what do? I train them. So how do I train them? For example, the polio vaccine. We have the oral polio vaccine. The government runs the program. There is also injectable polio vaccine also. What is that? It is inactivated virus itself, meaning I am introducing an inactive virus in my body so that my immune system recognizes that. And as soon as it is recognized, it's a weak virus, my body will produce antibodies against that. So when the proper or the strong virus enters from any other means, through any other vector, my body would be ready to fight it. That is called as vaccination or immunization. And that is why we run the universal immunization program. In India, there is immunization, which is immunization or vaccines given to women. There are different tetanus boosters that are given. For a child, you can see the schedule, right? There is a long schedule. For infants, there is a schedule during the first year, during the second year, for 24 months, etc. You get BCG, you give BCG vaccine, hepatitis vaccine. There is oral polio vaccine 1, 2, 3. There is injectable polio vaccine also, which has been introduced. We also give Hep B, Hep A, Hep B vaccines are given. Measles, rubella. We have a vitamin A dose. Then you have a DPT booster also between 16 to 24 months. You have a Japanese encephalitis vaccine that is being given under the India's universal immunization program. So what is this? These are all methods of prevention. It is based on the principle of prevention is better than treatment. Prevention is better than cure. So let's not get the disease in the first state itself. All right. So I hope you have gotten clear idea about why do we fall ill, what are the kinds of diseases, and how do we identify them, and how do we treat them. Also, how do we prevent them from occurring in the first place. So let me end our discussion for today with this particular motto: stay fit, stay healthy. So to be healthy, you need to ensure that you have physical fitness, you have mental fitness, and you also have some sort of cleanliness around your community or your society. So ensure that you have a positive, happy attitude. You get sound sleep for 7 to 8 hours. Drink plenty of water. Have good food. Have balanced diet. It should have carbohydrates, proteins, fats. It should have roughages. It should have vitamins, green leafy vegetables. So ensure that you get all these macro and micronutrients in appropriate amounts. Apart from that, ensure that you do exercise as well. Okay? That is what is the meaning of health: being physically, mentally, and socially fit. Do all these things religiously. Follow a strict schedule for this, and stay fit, stay healthy. With that note, let me end today's discussion. Thank you for watching this, and you do know that if you have liked this video, you can always follow me on my social media handle @RahulSai222. Thank you for watching this. Jai Hind.